Pirozhki are Russian yeasted hand pies, and we've made them many times on this channel. We made them with potatoes, we made them with cabbage. And today we're making a sweet version. We are making pirozhki with blueberries. I have struggled with this dish for years. You see, for the life of me, I could not make them stop from leaking. I tried baking them seam side down and seam side up. Nothing worked. I even tried a funky shaping technique that I found on YouTube. This reduced the leaking, but it also reduced the juiciness and made the dough thicker than I liked due to overlapping layers. They certainly are pretty, but not quite as tasty. The solution turned out to be much simpler. Turn the leaking from a bug into a feature. I used to bake my blueberry pirozhki spaced out on a baking sheet just like the cabbage ones. This resulted in the blueberry juice spreading out all over the place and burning. By cramming my pirozhki into a small baking sheet and baking them like pull-apart rolls, I prevented the juice from burning and turned it into the most delicious, the most dunkable sauce. If sticky buns are a thing, why shouldn't leaky buns be a thing? I think it should be. Combine 100 grams of heavy cream and 220 grams of buttermilk. Heat them in the microwave or on the stovetop to somewhere between 100 and 105. You want it to feel lukewarm, but I strongly suggest you use a thermometer so that you don't damage your yeast. Pour in 10 grams of SAF instant yeast. Whisk very thoroughly until the yeast is mostly dissolved. Weigh 2 yolks. If yours don't add up to 36 grams, add a splash of buttermilk until you get 36 grams. Add them to the wet ingredients. Add 40 grams of melted and cooled butter and whisk. It's okay if your yolks are from the fridge, the other ingredients will warm them up. Put 450 grams of unbleached all-purpose flour into a bowl of a stand mixer. I'm using the King Arthur brand. Add 8.4 grams of salt. That's 1 tablespoon of diamond crystal kosher or 1.5 teaspoons of table salt. For all other salt types, weigh on a high precision scale. Add 40 grams of granulated sugar and whisk the dry ingredients to combine. Pour the wet into the dry and mix with a dough hook. I like to start it by hand since the dough hook is slow with bringing ingredients together, and then continue with a mixer on low speed until I get a dough. If you don't have a mixer, look for a link below this video on how to make this dough by hand. Once all the flour is absorbed, scrape down the sides of the bowl and mix on medium-low speed, about 3 on KitchenAid, for 4 minutes. This is a very wet dough, so it's perfectly normal for it to stick to the bowl. If your mixer has a C-hook instead of a spiral hook, flip the dough halfway through to ensure even kneading. Grease a bowl that is at least 3 quarts in capacity with vegetable oil all the way up the sides. Dump the dough into the greased bowl and give it a few folds to turn it into a ball. Flip it smooth side up. Cover with plastic and let rise until it's roughly tripled in volume. This will take about 2 hours, assuming your kitchen is roughly 70 Fahrenheit. When you're ready to shape, put 100 grams of sugar into a small bowl and add the zest of 1 lemon. Rub it with your fingers to distribute the zest evenly. Juice the lemon into another small bowl. We'll need roughly 450 grams of blueberries. That's a heaping pint. To be on the safe side, I like to buy 2 pints. The reason we are keeping the sugar, lemon juice and blueberries separately is to help with shaping. If the sugar starts to melt, sealing pirozhki will be very difficult. I'm speaking from experience here. Cut a piece of parchment paper in half to fit 2 small baking sheets. These are called quarter sheets and they measure 13 by 9 inches. You could potentially use 1 big sheet, but pirozhki take a while to shape and I find that smaller batches proof more evenly. The first batch of 10 buns is ready to bake sooner than the second batch. Of course, if you recruit a shaping buddy, you can get the shaping done faster and bake all 20 pirozhki in one 18 by 13 inch baking sheet called a half sheet. It's been about 2 hours and our dough is huge and bubbly. Lightly flour the work surface, release the dough from the sides of the bowl and turn it out. We want to remove as many bubbles as possible. To do that, first pat the dough aggressively with flat hands. Then fold it like a letter this way. And finally, fold it again like a letter the other way. The next step is portioning. Cut the dough in half. If the halves don't look even, make any necessary adjustments. Roll each half into a log and cut each log into 2 pieces, one slightly longer than the other. Cut the bigger piece into 3 parts. Cut the smaller piece into 2 parts. Then cut each piece in half. This will produce 10 pieces. Repeat that with remaining dough and you should end up with a total of 20 pieces of roughly 40 grams each. I like to weigh my pieces and make any necessary adjustments. You can add or subtract the dough as needed. Once all the dough is portioned, roll each piece into a tight ball. Tuck in all the ends, flip it over, and roll, pressing hard with the palm of your hand. I prefer not to flour the work surface at all, otherwise the dough ends up sliding around and the balls become very hard to form. Here is a close-up of rolling in slow motion. See how I'm using my thumb to seal the dough on the bottom? Keep all the pieces covered at all times unless you are working with them. This dough can dry out very quickly. Working with one ball at a time, place it smooth side down onto your work surface and flatten it out with your fingers. I don't use any flour for this. Letting the dough stick to the counter helps it stay thin instead of shrinking back. But if your humidity conditions are different and this is not working for you, you can always add a little flour on your work surface. My circle is about 5 inches in diameter. Add 1 heaping teaspoon of lemon sugar and a few drops of lemon juice. Then add a handful of blueberries, about 15 to 20 grams. Connect the dough edges and seal very tightly. After I form the initial seal, I go through it one more time, making little overlapping folds and sealing as well as possible. Place Pirozhki seam side down on a parchment paper-lined baking sheet. You'll end up with 2 sheets of 10 buns. As soon as you fill the first sheet, cover it with plastic wrap and preheat the oven to 400 degrees. While the first batch is proofing, shape the second batch. The proofing time is 20 to 30 minutes depending on the temperature of your kitchen. Don't expect the buns to double. Most of the volume is occupied by blueberries and they won't grow. The buns should look slightly poofier than right after shaping. Combine 1 yolk and 2 tablespoons of milk and whisk thoroughly. Brush the egg wash all over Pirozhki. Place them in the middle of the oven for 10 minutes. Rotate the baking sheet and bake for another 5 to 7 minutes or until they are nicely browned. As soon as they are out, brush them with melted butter. Then egg wash and bake the second batch. Give them 10 minutes to cool and enjoy. Make sure to serve them warm and if possible the day you bake them. The rewarming instructions are in the recipe below the video. Of course, blueberries are not the only fruit you can use. These are delicious with plums, apricots, sour cherries, and nectarines. If it's too late for blueberries where you live, try plums. They are fantastic. Here are more very detailed culinary tutorials for you to check out, and if you are ever in the Boston area, maybe I'll see you in one of my classes.